What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Imperfect Action Show. I'm your host today, Stizzo Speaks, and I'm super excited. We got another amazing show this morning, and I'm here with the one and only Zach Baker, founder of Social Growth Company. And I'm excited about today because we're going to talk all about social media growth. And we know that is a hot topic. It has been one since for me, since the pandemic started, is where I really started to see this thing blow up because everyone wanted to decide, hey, I need to learn how to be an entrepreneur and I need to learn how to scale my Instagram to do so. So, it's been a hot topic. So I'm excited to have this conversation today with Zach and learn the tools to really do this thing the right way and learn how he took imperfect action in his business to make some changes. So without further ado, help me welcome Zach to the Imperfect Action Show. Welcome, Zach.
Thank you so much. Super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time today. So why don't we start? Let the audience know, who you are, where you're from, and kind of just how you got started.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from Colorado Springs, living in Austin, Texas now. I kind of grew up in a very entrepreneurial household. My mom was an entrepreneur. Both my grandpas have their own businesses. And I guess a little background on me, I started a little social media account when I was a senior in high school with my best friend at the time. And it was never meant to be like a business. It was never meant to be anything big. And, we just kept posting kind of as a hobby. And we didn't have a lot of money to spend on ads, to spend on growing our account. So we kind of had to think outside of the box, right? We had to find these little secret strategies that would allow us to grow that wouldn't, entail us spending a lot of money on ads. So long story short, we were able to build and get to 250,000 followers, which was a pretty big accomplishment for me. And started working with like Fortune 500 companies. And then the big slap happened. We actually got our account banned by Instagram back in 2020. So this was right in the middle of COVID. And one day I woke up and our account got taken down. We think it was like a malicious attack from a competitor. And what happened there was I had a decision to make. I had to either put all my eggs back into that basket and focus all my time and effort into rebuilding this thing that I've spent so much time on, or I could do something else, right? And at the time, I had all these friends, all these family members, people I met in college reaching out to me, asking for advice on how to grow their social media. And I kind of realized, well, instead of doing this all for myself and growing up this big brand for myself, maybe I can help other people build up their brands and sort of make an income off of it. So that's kind of the long story, super, super short. Like I said, I'm in Austin, Texas now. I love it. Very upbeat city, a lot going on, a lot of networking. And I get to meet cool people like Stizzo and the team here. So yeah.
Nice. I've been to Austin once, actually. I went, was it the year before last in May. Someone from the group I was a part of, she opened Cranky Grannies in Austin.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a dope experience for, to see her. She's like 22, opened her first brick and mortar. So that was pretty interesting. And we went out to a club, which was on a street full of different bars and clubs. It was insane, the amount of people.
Yeah, 6th Street. It was probably 6th Street. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, this is interesting, but we had a lot of fun. It was cool. So dope. So nice. So started it back in high school with a couple of friends. That good old social media ban, which we're going to get into that a little later, because I do want to talk about, sort of the strategies or ways to, one, prevent that, and two, kind of combat it when it does happen, because I've had some personal experience with this in social media as well. So you're able to grow the platform to 250K followers. They took away the social media platform, and then you had your hands on people asking you for, advice and support on how they can grow their platform. So that was pretty much your way of taking imperfect action to decide that now you're going to create a company and a business out of this, and not so much focus on your page solely as, just your personal page or your page with your friends. It's like, now how do I create a business and make the business grow? So that's dope, because they say look to those questions that people come to you about, because that's how you identify most times what it is that you should be doing, and what some of the things that you're good at. So I love that.
Yeah, 100%. And, at the time I was in college, I was studying to be a financial advisor. I had 2 finance degrees. And for the longest time, I thought I was going to be a financial advisor. And, I had this internship and I was cold calling. I was doing all these cold outreach methods, trying to basically like get someone in on a meeting. And, what I realized during this internship was that was maybe the bottom 20% as far as like knowledge and expertise goes for advisors. And it was just because I was so new in the field. And financial advisors, I mean, they work there for 20, 30, 40 years. And I was like, why am I spending so much time and effort reaching people for this profession that I'm the bottom 20% expertise in, when I might be the top, 0.05% in social media, and I have this warm flow of traffic just trickling in, asking me for help. And that's really when I kind of realized, like, just like you said, take action on the questions that you're getting asked by your warm market, because that's really where you can help people the most. And that's kind of what I realized. I was like, all right, I can help the most amount of people in the highest caliber way by doubling down on this social media and kind of leaving the financial advising.
Right, exactly. I love that. All right, so let's get right into it. Talking about social media growth. And right now, like, we're in the times where we have so many different platforms that we can use. There's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's YouTube, there's Facebook, there's Snapchat, there's Clubhouse, there's Twitch, and the list goes on and on and on, right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
now LinkedIn is becoming now the new hot social media platform, if you will, for advertising and getting leads and all this stuff. So when someone is thinking about growing their social media platform, what's the first piece of advice you give them if they're trying to decide which platform they need to work on the most or put the most time and effort in? Or do they divide it? Like, what is like that point of advice? Because I know for me, I'm like, okay, do I give it to Instagram? Do I give it to TikTok? Because there's so many different platforms.
Yeah, great question. So, first thing I would say is it's always very important to have a following on Instagram. And the reason is because, you talked about all these platforms, and all of them are good for their own reasons. But Instagram, what I found is it's kind of the modern day resume now. And, you can think of LinkedIn as like a professional resume. But as far as like people getting to know you and wanting to know if they want to do business with you, they're not really asking for a resume. They'll just search you up on Instagram. And that's kind of the new way to really find out who a person is and how they might be able to help you. So I always encourage people to really build their presence on Instagram, because it kind of acts as like a hub for all the other social medias. Like if you're on a website, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on TikTok, they all link back to Instagram, because at the end of the day, people want to see your Instagram to really get a good idea of what you do. Now, the other platforms are good as far as virality goes. For example, you can blow up on TikTok probably a lot easier than Instagram. Same with YouTube Shorts. So I always recommend supplementing it if you can. And it really helps when you have a team by your side, because as you know, it takes a lot of time, not only posting on one platform, but posting on many platforms. And the content can actually be different depending on the platform you post, right? So TikTok, users want more raw, genuine, kind of be real style content. And then Instagram is a little more like polished, and LinkedIn's a little more polished, and Facebook is a little more polished. So, really, I would say Instagram is probably the hardest to grow. And part of that is because it's so saturated, but it also pays the highest dividends as far as your business goes. If you can build a good following of organic followers on Instagram and really provide value there.
Gotcha. So a couple of different things to know. So Instagram being sort of the hub is how I
Yeah.
understand it, right? So Instagram is the point where we want to put pretty much all our eggs in a basket, and then you feed the other platforms based on this egg basket, right? Like your main source, your main driving, your main source for content, let's say, right? And so if I'm on Instagram and I have a couple of thousand followers, I have what I feel like is great content. I'm adding value in my niche. What do I do to scale? Like I'm looking at, maybe 50 followers in a week. It's not really a lot of things happening. Like I get comments here and there. Like, what do I do to make the magic happen? Is there a button that I press? Do I pay people? Like, do I pay some magic person who's going to wand them all together? Like, how do I even start with building an audience if I feel like I have the value?
Yeah. Great question. Great question. I feel like a lot of people are in this spot. The first thing I would say is get an outsider opinion, right? Obviously, the engagement and the likes and the followers is kind of an opinion, but ask someone who you trust. Ask an advisor, someone who's been doing this for a while, because we all have blind spots. Even I have blind spots on my own social media, which is why I work with a coach. Because sometimes there's a little tweak here and there that if you just change that, the conversion ratio of people landing on your profile to the people who are following you, or, as far as content goes, maybe there's one or two tweaks that we can have there that's really going to gain the attention and keep people interested and keep watching the video. So really, I would say just reach out for help and work with a coach that promises results, right? For example, we do a 14-day money back guarantee because we're so invested and we know that we can grow people's accounts with organic followers. So we're like, hey, if you're not liking the growth, if the types of followers you're getting are not legit, you can get your money back in 14 days, right? And I think one of the reasons why we do that is because in this social media growth industry, there's so much trash, right? We get those DMs all the time. It's like, I can get you 10,000 followers and today, and it's going to be $10. And you're like, okay, this isn't legit, right? So 90% of, the industry is really, I don't want to say like a scam, but you're not going to get the types of followers that you're looking for, right? Whether they're bots or they might be real followers, but they're not interested in your niche or what you have to offer whatsoever. So your engagement's really going to suffer, right? So really it's working with a coach, someone who can help you build an organic audience and kind of grow from the ground up. Okay. I would say.
And as far as growth, right? What do you all consider growth when you're looking at a client? Is it the actual numbers that they're seeing in terms of the following count going up and growing? Or is it the amount of business that they're getting from their account? Or does it vary, right? Because certain people might have different objectives when it comes to growing their social media following. Some people might just want the vanity metrics, right? And then others are trying to grow their business. What are you all seeing is like the number one concern coming in? Is it growth in numbers for vanity, or is it growth in numbers to then scale a business via Instagram or earn money on Instagram, essentially?
Yeah. There's a couple types of clients, and you have the influencers who are really just trying to grow that follower count, right? And they want to do brand deals and they want to do, affiliate links and stuff like that. And that's the types of followers don't matter quite as much. We still want organic followers, but we're more focused on boosting that number up, right? And getting that authority of the fact that they're an influencer now and they can get paid for UGC content and do affiliate deals, stuff like that. We really hone in on the people who are trying to make money from Instagram. So we really focus on the types of followers that are coming in, right? We want every follower that you get to essentially be like a warm lead and have a purpose for following you. So we work with a lot of coaches, a lot of small businesses, podcasts, authors, artists, DJs, stuff like that. People who are essentially trying to make money on the back end from social media and really have a purpose for spending all this time and effort on social media. Because, some people do it for fun, the influencers that like posting content for fun, but a lot of people, they're just trying to help more people and provide value and offer their services. And that's really what we focus on is making sure that, if we're getting followers, they're warm leads that we can kind of nurture into hopefully helping them with whatever service you provide.
Gotcha. Okay. And you know what's a hot topic for me? And it kind of like it's something that I dealt with many years ago. And Brendan actually suggested that I make this change. My account used to be private. This was probably, and this was before I even started off this entrepreneurial journey and speaking. So I had a private account because in my mind, I was like, I don't want just anyone seeing my business, right?
Yeah.
You're like bigger than you really are, and people care way more than they really do. What is your message for people who have private accounts but are trying to grow their Instagram?
Yeah, that's a big no-go, right? I mean, first of all, the followers you get, they're not going to be like qualified warm leads at all because they don't really know what you're about. I mean, we can give them some context in our bio and our username and our profile picture, but at the end of the day, we only want followers who are seeing our content, seeing the value we bring, seeing the message that we provide, and then choosing to follow, because those are the followers that matter, and those are the followers that are really going to engage with your posts. Back in the day when I ran my Instagram account that we got to 250, we did do some private accounts, and the growth was really good because we'd go private and people kind of got FOMO and wanted to see what was on the other end, right? Mm-hmm. But what we found is we might have got more followers, but the followers we got weren't as engaged, right? So the posts weren't going as viral. They weren't taking action on our call to actions, going to our website, buying merchandise, stuff like that. So get yourself out there. Don't be afraid. Go public. You can help people, and you really need to spread your message. So don't be afraid to go public.
Yeah. And honestly, no one really cares that much. Like it's crazy to me because even in coaching, I'm like, you're running an entire business and your page is private. No wonder you have 1,000 followers. Like no one knows what you do. They just see your title or they see your bio. But if someone follows me and their page is private, I don't follow them back, So that's one of those things to keep in mind. So here's your public service announcement. If you're private right now, just open the page, let it go, let it breathe. So in terms of lead generation, getting to 250,000, how long did that take? And what's the strategy message for getting more leads to your profile? Like where does someone start with lead gen on social media?
Yeah, great question. So, back when we started the account, we didn't know a lot, right? So we posted day in, day out. We were figuring it out as we were going. So it took us about 4 years of consistent posting to get to 250,000 followers. But the 250,000 followers we had were badass, right? It was 96% US followers within the age range of 18 to 30, I believe. And that was our exact target market, right? So it was a big win for us. And now that we have all the knowledge from building that account, we can scale a lot quicker. Now, going to your second question, how do you go about getting leads? It's more about taking massive action, right? And I love how the name of the podcast is the Imperfect Action Show, because an imperfect action is always going to beat no action at all, right? So it's about engaging with other people in your industry, engaging with potential clients, people who you're trying to attract as a follower, doing more engagement on social media, and really just ramping up your volume on social media is going to attract those leads and really get you more exposure, right? I'm sure y'all might be familiar with Grant Cardone, the big 10X guy. He says, oftentimes we're doing the right thing. We're just doing way too little of it. We're doing 1/10 of the volume that we need to be doing in order to achieve success, right? And then one of my, mentors, or I guess role models that I look up to is Alex Hormozi. He runs like a couple $100 million businesses. And he says something similar. He says, do so much work that it would be extremely unreasonable for you not to hit your goals, right? So that's kind of where I double down into. And it's about doing the right things, but it's about doing a lot of it, right? And that's kind of where we come in, because as busy professionals, you only have so much time in the day. you can't be on Instagram all day interacting with your target market, interacting with other pages, setting up collaboration posts, stuff like that. And that's kind of where we come in and kind of do it and grow their account on autopilot. We get a real good understanding of who they're trying to attract, and then we figure out how to make it happen.
Got it. Got it. So it's doing more of the thing that's working, just putting more reps in, essentially, is what you're saying. And so to that point, I've had so many different mixed conversations and mixed feedback about how many times someone should be posting a day and how that affects your algorithm. Can you lean us into kind of what has been sort of the factual information in terms of research and what you're seeing out there that ties to how many times should you be posting a day and how does that really affect your algorithm?
Yeah, great question. Great question. I think there's a lot of slander going out there of, don't post more than 5 times a week because you're going to annoy your audience and stuff like that. And I would really combat that and say, post as much as you possibly can. Now, I don't post 10 times a day. Obviously, we want to have quality content, but quality and quantity will always be just quality, right? So, I would say posting 2 times a day is extremely doable. Like you should try to do that, right? Because the more you post, the more exposure you get. And it also helps you figure out where your attractive character lies in the market so you can double down on that content, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the strategies that we do is we say, okay, post 10 times, maybe some different types of content, see which one did best, and then make 10 of those.
Got it.
Then study those 10 and see which one did best of that. Figure out why that one did the best and make 10 of those. And that way you're just able to exponentially scale because the types of content that works for certain people is always different. Some people work better with carousels. Some people work better with reels, talking to the camera, providing value, podcast style content, stuff like that. So really it's about posting a lot and then figuring out what works and then doubling down on that and then just continuing to do that to get your content better and better and better.
Good. That was a great point. I like that. Post a lot and then kind of see which one within the 10 posts does the best and analyze the reason why and then duplicate that 10 times, like 10x that, and then just continue that strategy. That's a good tip. So if you're watching or if you're watching the playback, write that one down in your social media notebook and take note of that because that's definitely going to work. Now, in terms of marketing, strategies with marketing, someone who say, they're starting out very early in the game, they're looking to grow, they're doing well with the strategy of posting more often, quality content, they're doing their one post that worked really well, 10xing that, but they don't have a lot of money to spend on ads, right? Because we hear ads a lot in terms of marketing to run ads, and I see the sponsorship ads up and down my timeline all day. What is give that person who's like, you know what, I really just want more growth. I'm not seeing it. I'm giving the quality, I'm giving the quantity, but I can't afford to run ads right now. What is my other option?
Yeah, great question. And this really goes back to, when we were starting from the ground up. Growth on social media is very exponential, right? The first 1,000 followers is always going to be the hardest. And then the next 9,000 to get to 10,000 is going to be a little bit easier. And then, when you're getting over 10,000, it just gets so much easier, right? And I think the biggest strategy here that we were able to hone in on to really get through that tough phase of the first initial phase of growth is doing strategic partnerships. Okay, now what do I mean by this? Look for other individuals who are in the same position and do a collaboration post. Reach out to them, say, hey, let's collab, post at the same time, post together. Instagram has that new feature where you can actually post the same post on 2 accounts, and then you can cross-pollinate followers, right? Mm-hmm. So add value with someone else, do a collaboration post. Now that post is not only getting in front of your audience, but it's also getting in front of someone else's audience. So you're going to get some of their followers. And let's say you're at 1,000 followers when you do that. So do it with an account with 1,000 followers with a similar niche. Then you're at, okay, let's fast forward. Now you're at 2,000 followers. Do it with an account with 2,000 followers, and keep doing that till you get past that tough phase of growth. And even now, I mean, some of my accounts with 100,000 followers will do collaboration posts with 100,000 followers. And it's just kind of a no brainer. It's a fast and easy and affordable way to grow your account quickly because there's other people in the same situation that are trying to grow their account, and you guys can both help each other out.
Right. That's a good tip. I like that. So collaborating, so that's very different than, let's say, going and paying for an ad on like a shout out page. So Zach is saying collaborate with a person on Instagram that has a similar profile, similar audience, because you're essentially cross-pollinating the audience. So you're getting like your feet wet, their audience is getting to know you and vice versa. So you all are both benefiting. It's like need for need, essentially. So each person comes out on the other side and wins. And I think that's a great point of value, because we underestimate how much value we can add to someone else's audience that's similar, because sometimes we worry about competition, right? And we don't take into account that we are all unique in our own spaces. So I could be on this podcast with Zach talking about social media growth just as much as he could be, but we're two different people. We're two different personalities. We have two different flares. We bring two different perspectives, although giving very like information and sometimes different, because we both have a different story, right? So keep that in mind too. You don't have to worry so much about competition. It's more so collaboration. So I love that point. That's dope. And getting on other people's lives and, podcasts, that's another great way too, I think, to build, and something that I've experienced when I go live on someone else's platform on my Instagram. I'm able to see like so-and-so followed, so-and-so followed, so-and-so followed, just show up on the screen. And I'm like, aha, that's so easy, because I'm doing what I would be doing anyway, right? So doing more of that will essentially help grow. So good tip. I love that. In terms of shout out pages, because I do want to talk about that now that came up to mind, because that is something that I see a lot with different social media strategists. They'll suggest buying into a shout out page, or creating your own shout out page, and then kind of being like the non-face of that, but using that as a leverage point to gain more following. So what's your advice on shout out pages? What should people look for if they want to do it? What questions should they be asking? And does it work?
Yeah, great question. And also great strategy. So this is another one of those topics that you really have to be careful with, right? Because I imagine y'all get those DMs all the time where people are trying to promote you on their page, and you look at their profile and they have like 500,000 followers. But if you really, peel back the onion and look at the engagement and look at the types of followers they have, it's not going to do you any justice, right? It's a lot of fake followers. It's a lot of followers that might be abroad, not necessarily the types of followers that you're trying to attract for your business. So I never do shout outs if they reach out to me. I mean, that's just like general rule of thumb. If they reach out to you, their page is probably not worth it to get on. I reach out to pages that I follow. For example, like Wealth, I think they have like 6.3 million followers. That might be out of someone's budget, but what I do is I reach out to them. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to promote my services. What would you charge for a post, right? That's all you got to say. What would you charge for a post? And they'll let you know. And then the follow-up question to that is, can you send me a video, not a picture, a video recording of your demographics? Where are your followers from? What's the age range? What's the gender, right? Because we really want to make sure that if we're going to pay to get promoted on a page, that we're getting in front of the right types of people. Right. So asking for a demographic, and the reason why I say a video is because the space is kind of shady, right? And people can take screenshots from their buddy who has another page and show you a demographic that isn't their demographic. But if they send you a video, it's pretty bulletproof. So ask for their demographic. If I'm trying to attract a US audience, I'm looking for pages with 35% US following at least, like on the low end, 45, 50 preferred US audience in order to get in front of their followers. I wouldn't go anything lower than that. But it's tough to find those pages, and you're going to have to put in a lot of work. Maybe reach out to 50 pages that you might think have your target audience. Maybe 10 of them get back to you and ask for their demographic, and then really just figure out, okay, what's the best deal here, right?
Right.
And with these types of people, one thing you can do is negotiate, right? I mean, it takes 5 minutes for them to put you on their account. So if they come to you and they say 100, just be like, hey, could you do maybe a story and a post for 100? Or for the first time, could we do 50? And if it goes well, then I'll come back and buy more, right?
Right.
And that was one of the main strategies that we used to grow our audience to 250,000 followers, was running these shout outs. Because yeah, it costs money, but one, it's more of a referral and testimonial compared to like a paid ad, because consumers see paid ads, and we're on social media to be entertained or get value, right? We just kind of scroll right past it. But if another page that we follow that we trust is recommending to follow another profile, it's just kind of a better feel to the consumer on social media. So
Right.
shout outs are a great strategy, but you got to be very careful with the types of accounts you're working with. And there's a lot of trial and error that goes into it. And with the messaging, with the content, if you're going to get promoted on an account, I would advise you to, a lot of people are like, okay, I got to make a post for this account now. I wouldn't recommend that. I would take your most viral video, something that's already doing really well for you, that really relates to your message and the value that you can bring, and then showcase that on their page, because it already does well.
Right. I love that. Yeah. So again, shout out pages, there go, but do your homework to make sure you vet out this shout out page. And the tip there was, if they're reaching out to you, more than likely it's not a great opportunity, because they're looking for the business. A lot of times shout out pages, how I imagine, they are the ones who are getting sourced and scouted because they have the value. It's the
Exactly.
same thing like with your own personal account and your business. You want to create that space where people have to find you. Like, you want people to find you. You don't want to have to go look for them. So have that same mindset and have them send you a video of their insights, because they can easily screenshot something and send it to you from someone else.
Photoshop. Yeah.
Yeah. But a video is harder to, Photoshop and make it up. And quite honestly, like, if they're getting paid to post you, they want to be able to show you, they want to show you their insights. They want to say, hey, this is for you. We can make this work, because it's a business for them too. I think any shout out page nowadays, for the most part, they're looking for the business side of it. And that's why they have, the pages that they have. So super dope.
Yeah. Great point. And one more touch point on that. So yeah, first of all, first red flag is if they are trying to not send you the insights, just go your other way, because that's just a big red flag in itself. Or if they're like, I don't know what that is, I don't know how to do that, just run the other way. And then the second piece of advice, because I don't want people to get burned with this strategy, is if they want you to pay them in like Bitcoin or something like that, I would really stay away from that. I always do PayPal, because PayPal somewhat has your back. If it doesn't work out and they take your money, you can most of the time get your money back. If they're asking for Bitcoin, run the other way. And if they're straying away from sending you their insights, also big red flag in my eyes.
Love that. Good point. Good point. Especially now, because people are so shady with these platforms. It's so crazy. Like, I get it every day, especially now because I do follow and know personally some really heavy hitters on Instagram. And so now I'm getting like so many fake profiles, and they're posting stories of Bitcoin. So you got to be careful. And then I want to round it out with talking about integration of other platforms with, let's just say Instagram, because that's kind of been our baby topic for today, or baby platform that we are talking about for today. I noticed on your social media page, you talked about integrating Facebook on your Instagram post for better reach. And I thought that reel or that video was so impactful, because I never thought about it that way. I'm usually the person that's like, no, don't put it on Facebook, right? Because my Facebook I look at is very different. It's like my family, my friends.
Right.
It's a point. I'm barely on there. So can you talk about integration of different platforms and how that's beneficial for growth?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Facebook owns Instagram, and there's this feature where when you post a reel on Instagram, you can recommend that reel to people on Facebook. Now, that's different from posting on Facebook. So it recommends your reel to people on Facebook, but it's not posting it on your exact profile. Now, if you do like a carousel, something that's optimized for Facebook, then you can actually post on both platforms at the same time, and it doesn't take any extra work. It just says post to Facebook. So post to Facebook and recommend on Facebook are two different things. The reel that I mentioned, I posted a reel and I think I got like 10,000 views, which isn't a whole lot on Instagram, but I got 35,000 views from Facebook on the same reel. And it didn't post to my Facebook. It just recommended that reel and showed it on Facebook, right?
Nice.
So it really helped me grow my reach. And I recommend if you have that option, and sometimes that option isn't there just because of licensing issues with the music that you're using, or if you're uploading it from another platform, sometimes they don't allow you to do that. But if that option is there, always take advantage of it, because it's just going to help you reach more and more people. If that makes sense. And remind me your question again.
No, you actually
integrating.
Okay. The question. Integrating the recommendation was with the Facebook post. Because that helps your growth. Because if you're seeing 10,000 views on Instagram for the post, but you recommended it on Facebook and you got 35,000 people that are like, what, or 35,000 watches, they're actually going to go to your Instagram and look at your profile. So that's a great way to reel them in, which I didn't even think about. I thought you just had to post to Facebook. So you answered it flawlessly. And so right before we wrap up, actually, I want to go back to the band situation, because that, I mean, I could only imagine how heartbreaking it was to lose an account that had 250,000 followers that you worked so hard to get, which majority of them were organic growth. When that happens and someone is banned, do you recommend that they try to fight back for that profile account, or just scratch it and then just start new? Like, what's kind of your thoughts? I know what you guys did, but what would you recommend to an audience that's like, freak, I'm in the position of losing my profile and I want it back?
Yeah, great question. So this was taken down, this happened back in like 2020. It might have been even late 2019. And there wasn't as many resources to really get your account back, right? They always have the form that you can submit, but my friends and I call that the black hole, right? You submit the form and you never hear from them. And we didn't get it back, right? Luckily now Facebook and Instagram have kind of realized that it's a big problem, and they've allowed more resources to get your account back. Now, it's still kind of hard to get your account back sometimes. They have an AI that supposedly can get your account back fairly quickly, and I actually did this for myself, and it worked. But sometimes the ban is a little more technical, and you need a little extra help. Now, what I recommend, and I am affiliated, but feel free not to use my link. Just go to this company. It's called Notch Insurance, okay? Notch Insurance. And what this is it's Instagram and social media insurance. I think they do YouTube and TikTok and Facebook as well. But what they do is, I think it's $25 a month, and they work with you side by side. They're plugged into the API. So if there's ever a hacker, if there's ever a ban, they let you know before you even know most of the time. And they help you get your account back. So they have a direct connection with Instagram, with Facebook. And if there's anything fishy going on, they just go directly to them and help you get your account back. Now, if they can't get your account back, if there's like a real malicious hacker that is super good at what they do and they hacked your account, they'll actually pay you every single day that you don't have access to your account. So it's Instagram insurance. It's $25 a month. I believe they cover me up to like 15 grand a month if my account gets hacked. And my account has been banned twice.
Wow.
Since I've got this insurance, and I got it back both times within a day.
Nice.
So highly recommend Notch Insurance. There's a lot of shady people out there. For a while, there was a group of individuals who would just go around and ban people's accounts, reach out to them over text message or WhatsApp, and basically just hold their account for ransom and say, hey, if you want your account back, you got to pay me $1,000, right? So you never know what's going to happen. And even if you don't think you have beef with anyone, you never know who those people are going to attack next. So highly recommend, if you have a decent following, or if you take Instagram and social media seriously, reach out to Notch Insurance. They have been doing wonders for me. So
love that.
That's my best piece of advice there.
That's a good one. I didn't even know there was such a thing. So that's important. Especially if you're someone and you're running your business through Instagram. Your Instagram is your source of income, you definitely want to protect that. So I love that. Great advice. And so what I'd like to do is a start, stop, and a continue. So we'll take them out on 3 pieces of advice with start, stop, and continue, and then we'll let everyone know where they can find you. So currently, something that someone should start doing on their profile that they're not doing for growth, something that they're doing that they should stop doing that's potentially hurting their growth, and then something they should continue to do that's working well.
Yeah, great question, or great, I guess, question, right?
Because I know
it's a Friday. Our brains are turned off. So first thing I would say, start optimizing your profile, right? So one thing that I see a lot of people do is they spend all this time creating great content, and their content's actually really, really good, but their profile's not optimized. So the conversion rate, the amount of people that land on their profile to the amount of people that follow them, is actually fairly low. So first thing you should do is always optimize your profile. And what this looks like is making sure you have a profile picture that stands out. Your bio is super short and clean, and really organized, really tells you who you are, what you do, and how you can help people and who you help. I am a big fan of the story highlight covers. It just really makes you stand out and look more professional. And then actually you can have, so there's a small follow button and there's a large follow button. Now it might make a slight difference, like 5% of your conversion rate, but we'll take all the followers we can get, right? Yep. So do your research, go onto Google and look up how to get the big follow button, because that helps out with conversion a little bit too. So start optimizing your profile before you focus on the content. I would say stop overthinking the content, because sometimes what you think won't do well will actually do really, really well, right? Some of the posts that I was like, it was in my drafts, I'll just post it, I don't have another post for today, will blow up and get like millions of views, right? Yeah. We have no idea which posts are going to pop off, right? We can take our best guess. I relate it back to the stock market because I was in the financial industry. We can take our best picks at which stocks are going to do well, but at the end of the day, we don't really know what is going to happen, like which stocks are going to blow up and which stocks are going to tank. So just get the content out there. Don't overthink your content. Use the strategy that I said earlier in the podcast, where just get 10 things out there, see which one does the best, and then do 10 of those, and just keep doubling down and doing that, which will lead you to exponential growth. And then continue posting content. I mean, the biggest thing is a lot of people are very motivated in the beginning, and they'll post content for, a couple of weeks or a month, and they won't see the return right away. But the algorithm's still trying to figure out what audience, meshes well with your content. People are still trying to find you. So oftentimes it takes longer than you think, which not a lot of people like hearing, but keep continuing. I promise you, if you keep posting content, it will pay dividends in the long run. Don't get unmotivated, because everyone started somewhere. And if you just put in the reps and make the goal posting the content and not the results of the content, it'll work out for you extremely well in the long run.
Love that. Those are all great. That was perfect. Well said. Well said. Well, Zach, let us know where we can find you. If we're looking, we're like, I got to get my button right and I got to get my social media profile together. Where can the audience find you for more information on social growth?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you just go to CEO Zach on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, I'm most active on Instagram. So I'd say CEO Zach, and Zach is spelled Z-A-C. So CEO ZAC on Instagram. You can reach out to me there. Oftentimes I'll have my Calendly link up there if you want to hop on a call. And if you're looking to grow your account, we're averaging about 30 very high targeted organic lead followers per day for people just starting out with us. So from day one, you're going to be seeing these really good followers coming in. Obviously, if your account is already established and you're creating good content and you have a decent following, it can get exponentially larger than that. But for even the smallest accounts, like 200 followers, 500 followers, averaging about 30 new organic followers per day. So reach out to me on CEO Zach. And if you have any questions, and even if you don't have the budget for it, I'm always willing to point you in the right direction of, maybe giving you some tips that you might not see in your profile. And at the end of the day, I'm just trying to help people because Instagram is such a beast to tackle sometimes, and social media can be tough, and we need help from other people. So would love to help you out.
Love that. Love that. Thank you so much, Zach. Thank you all for watching. If you're here live with us and you watched the entire episode, I hope you enjoyed. That was a lot of great information on social media growth. If you're watching a playback, this is the Imperfect Action Show, where we talk to 6, 7, 8-figure earners about taking imperfect action in their business. And Zach definitely took imperfect action after getting banned, building a baby from 0 to 250,000, and then losing it all and coming right back from that and creating a massive social media growth company. So thank you again to our guest, Zach, for being here. We'll see you all on the next episode of the Imperfect Action Show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.